joining us now to talk more about this, Democratic strategist Dave Jacobson, as well as Republican strategist John Thomas. Well, I believe it was Bill Clinton who said it's about the economy, stupid. And that's really, I mean, they're swiping at each other over the economy, which is a really big hot topic for many, many voters, regardless of what side you're on. So who's making more headway here?
Well, look, I think Hillary Clinton is. A Monmouth poll came out today showing her actually leading in terms of the jobs and the economy message. And that's a big shift from what we've seen historically in the last month in May, when we saw more of a neck-and-neck race nationally. Donald Trump was leading her on that message. And I think now that you've sort of seen this downward spiral with his campaign unraveling at the seams, whether it's his lackluster fundraising, his anemic staff, his failed message, I think all of it underscores the fact that he's having a real challenge right now connecting with voters. And they're starting to shift to Hillary Clinton.
But Trump is tying Clinton to Obama, and if people are feeling like, you know, after this administration, they're not doing so well.
That's right,
you know,
economically.
Does that hurt Hillary?
It does. And yes, the Monmouth poll came out showing Hillary neck and neck on the economy, but CNN also just released a poll today saying Donald Trump still has a 3-point edge on the economy. And I think that's why Hillary gave the speech today. Hillary is going full-throated negative. She is throwing the kitchen sink at Donald Trump, launching $40 million in negative attack ads across the United States, hitting Donald Trump in the one area where he's strong, which is on the economy. This is smart. It's bad news for Donald Trump. There's no other way to spin it. But if I were Donald Trump, here's what I would do. I always look, the opportunity is in the problem. She's bragging about her great fundraising numbers. Everybody's knocking him for his abysmal fundraisers. Yet she's taken more money from Wall Street than any presidential candidate in U.S. history.
Is that true?
Yes, it is. Donald Trump should be talking about how Hillary is the establishment and she's beholden to them, and use that at the same time raising his own war chest.
Well, he needs to raise that war chest, and he might need some of that Wall Street cash to do it. So how is he going to start raising money when everybody assumes he's just this self-made man that doesn't need
And it's
cash?
very problematic because he spent the whole primary season bashing the Republican rich donors.
Taking money.
Exactly. It's problematic and ticking them off. But he's got to invest in that infrastructure. He's got to learn how to, what we call in our business, beg strangers for money. You have to do it. It's hard work. And they're about a year behind. Remember, the Clintons have spent their entire life building this infrastructure. Donald Trump ran a primary largely on earned media, and he's way behind the 8 ball.
But he's running on this idea that he is the most savvy businessman out there. Poor Trump today was trending on social media because of him not having this money and all this Chapter 11 stuff. So, I mean, does that hurt his own narrative?
I think it does. I mean, look, Hillary understands that this can be a wedge issue for her in this campaign, similarly to how Obama used it against Mitt Romney. What she's sort of doing is driving home a narrative right now that, look, he's out for himself. He's a big fat cat billionaire who doesn't care about poor working class Americans. Just look at his business record. Scores of his businesses have gone bankrupt. When he built his Trump clothing line, he shipped jobs overseas to China and to Mexico to manufacture Trump clothing. And then look at the scam that is Trump University. So all of these issues, I think, are a ripe opportunity for her to say, look, he may say that he's good for business and that he's going to create jobs, but he doesn't look out for workers. Just look at his record.
And it's also dangerous for Hillary. She lives in a glass house. How many jobs has she created? 0. The only thing she's done, is Trump's going to argue tomorrow in his big speech, is make herself and her husband richer, exploiting her time in office. So it's a dangerous narrative to walk down.
Well, the poll numbers do reflect that Hillary is ahead. She has a solid lead over Donald Trump in national polls, but a new state poll shows perhaps an even more alarming problem for the Trump campaign. Take a look at this. This is a Florida poll Quinnipiac University did. 47% over 30%. That's a pretty big gap.
Right, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons that sort of lead has grown for Hillary Clinton is Florida has a huge minority population, and I think Trump's sort of racist, xenophobic remarks about Judge Curiel, who's overseeing the Trump University case, I think has really done significant damage to his campaign in terms of his support with Latino voters, of which comprise a lot of the electorate in Florida.
Well, and Trump needs to learn how to seize the moment. In campaigns, you have these moments. You either grab them or you let them pass you by. The Orlando terror attacks really should have been a moment for Trump to rise above it all, look presidential, and talk about his plan to fight terror. And instead, he bragged about how he was right and he called this ahead of time. He missed the moment. He can't afford to do that again.
I will say, with as bad of a last couple of weeks that Trump has had, it's surprising to me that they are still tied in these other states.
It is amazing.
You know, I mean, Hillary should be trouncing him in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, and yet those poll numbers show that they're neck and neck.
And I think it really speaks to the fact that the American electorate doesn't like either of the candidates.
Right.
Hillary Clinton, if it weren't for Donald Trump, has the highest negatives of any presidential candidate in history. Other than Donald Trump. So it's not that people, right now, it is a lesser of two evils. And I will say this, look, we're talking about how bad Donald Trump's numbers are, and they are bad. He has to turn it around. But even a week is an eternity in presidential politics,
Sure.
and this could be flipped 2 weeks from now.
Well, because we're going to have you guys back when we get the next poll.
Great.
Sounds good to us.
Great.
All right, Dave Jacobson,
Job protection.
John Thomas.
John Thomas, thank
Appreciate
you.
you guys, as always.
you.
We're going to go up to